Okay. Hello, everyone. I think we're just about ready to get going here. There we go. Okay. What's that? And okay, let's do a quick introduction. So, hello, everybody. My name is Tim. I go by foamyguy on Discord and GitHub. And in this stream, I'm going to be working on CircuitPython libraries to start with, and maybe we'll get into some other stuff depending on how much time there is after that. But we're going to start with some library development. If you don't know what CircuitPython is, this is the website for it right here, circuitpython.org. It's a version of Python that can run on tiny computers called microcontrollers, like this little one. You can see it inside this lightsaber up here. So there's all sorts of little boards that have like RGB lights and sensors and all kinds of things that you can plug into them. And these tiny computers, they run CircuitPython, which makes it really easy to develop projects with them and also learn how to program. Like if you don't have any experience with programming at all or any kind of electronics or anything like that, it's really nice because there's been a bunch of work put in to make it super easy to do. So that's what we're going to be playing with today. And let's see. CircuitPython is an open source project. So this is the website for it right here, circuitpython.org. There is a link. Let's see. I don't actually know where the link is. I don't know if it links to it from here, but it is an open source project. It's on GitHub. We will go check out the source code for it. So if you're interested in how it works behind the scenes, this is the repository for it. So the whole project is open source. You can go and find the source code, look inside of it, change it to do stuff that you want, all of that sort of fun stuff. Hey, Dexter and Lay Samurai. So that's what CircuitPython is all about. And the folks that primarily support CircuitPython from a financial standpoint are Adafruit. This is their website, adafruit.com. So they create a bunch of the microcontrollers, those tiny computers. They create a bunch of those. They create a bunch of things that you can do with those, like stuff to plug in, sensors, lights, all kinds of breakout boards, and all kinds of other goodies. So if you want to support CircuitPython, if you think it's a cool project, one way you can do that is by purchasing hardware from Adafruit. You can do that at adafruit.com. So that's the kind of stuff we're going to be working on. And let's go ahead and dive into it. So the first thing I'm going to work on today is making a PR into the HID, Adafruit HID library, to add a couple of key codes that I found for brightness commands. So this is the page where I found them. I was searching around. I'm going to be working on a project that uses like a crank handle. You can hook it up to a tablet or a phone, like an iPad or, a smartphone, something like that. You can hook up this crank handle and it will be able to let you like scroll through Twitter, scroll through Discord, that sort of thing, or maybe in a different mode. The idea is maybe it's kind of acts like a generator, right? So the screen brightness goes all the way low and you kind of have to crank the crank in order to get the brightness to turn back up. So kind of feels like you're powering the screen through the crank. So that's the kind of project I'm working on. I found these key codes searching around for how to do the brightness, and I have tested them out using this script right here. It's on a, let's see, what is this? This is on a Circuit Playground, Circuit Playground Express. Yeah. Well, actually, I ran it on a Bluefruit, but it's using the Circuit Playground library. We will probably port this code over to work on a Funhouse because that's what I have set up under the camera for now. And then we will also make some new entries in the consumer control that store these key codes. Because right now in my test code, I'm just passing these raw hex values like 0x6f and 70. But what we really want is, let's go CircuitPython HID. What we really want is some things in here. Consumer control code. So you can see there's a list of constants that hold you know, a couple of these key codes. So brightness was not in there yet. So we want to add that as a PR. So that's the first thing we're going to work on. So we need to make sure that we have a fork of this. Okay, I do. So we can try to open it. I probably have it cloned already. So HID. Let's go new window. Yeah. Yep. That's one of the places where we found this, or at least where I found this, was, hey Johnny, how's it going? One of the places where I found this, it was in a kind of like a science experiment, I guess, and the idea was that they kind of tried to use it to treat like Twitter addiction or smartphone addiction. So the idea was like they made it to where you have to crank the crank to use Twitter on some folks that wanted to try to use Twitter less. So like by forcing them to do that physical thing, kind of made it not as fun to use Twitter, and they were able to, some of them were able to use it less based on that. So that's one of the ideas that came out of it. I think I kind of like the idea of cranking the to scroll down the feed as well. It seems like an interesting kind of haptic feedback way of going through a feed instead of, you know, touchscreen finger fling there. Yes, yeah. Cult of foamyguy, Weblite folks. Yeah, Scott was mentioning that the other day. Huge thanks to Scott, by the way, for the shout outs on show and tell. Did not know he was going to do that, and I definitely really appreciate that. So let's see. We need to make a new branch, probably. No idea what branch this is on. Just a different PR I was reviewing at one point. Before I actually dive in too much, I'm gonna turn on this lamp right here. So I'll be right back in 1 second. Okay, a little bit better. Hopefully that doesn't wash me out too much or anything. It's kind of dark here this morning. Although it looks sunny out, I guess it'll probably brighten up a bit. So we need to make a branch, git checkout, branch. Let's see, what's the name of this going to be? Adding brightness. Brightness, spell that right? Brightness, yeah, I think so. Brightness codes. That should be good. We want to go from Adafruit, probably master for now, I'm guessing. Yeah, looks like it. So I think we're going to be working on changing all of the rest of the libraries over pretty soon. All the new ones have been using main for a while. But it requires changing some other things in different parts of the infrastructure. All the old ones. So checkout. And most important part here, we do want no track. Scott might be lurking today. Ah, that'd be cool. No track, so yeah, that should be good. Nope, we cannot check out because we have unstaged changes. Let me just take a peek at what they are. Probably we can just throw them away for now. But let's take a look. Static method. So it looks like it traded out a pylint disable for turning this into a static method. Guessing that was part of a PR, but I'm not actually sure. Either way, though, I don't believe. Let's see, layouts. This is from Penguin Dev. Yeah, that must have been a PR. I don't think we need this in my local copy. We could see how it ended up. Maybe it's already pushed into master. This is what file? Keyboard layout. Oh, so this has actually been refactored a little bit since the last time. Because there is a keyboard layout US. Okay, well, first of all, I'm looking in the wrong. I'm looking at my fork, which is definitely out of date. So let's let's look in the right spot. So there is a keyboard layout US now. And then I think is there maybe, okay, yeah, this is where this came from, I think. A quick look back through here. Okay, it had the it had that similarity issue. Yeah, and I figured out how many lines to change it to. Did some refactoring, possibly. Let's see. Sure, if this is ready to merge. Let's see. Okay, so we're so are we gonna have same problem adding key codes? I mean, I guess adding key codes is not, single key codes is not necessarily as big as an entire layout. I wonder if consumer control should be moved into its own eventually. Read through this real quick. Okay, looks like they're gonna look into something to do with alt grave or something. Before they want to do that before merging, looks like. Okay. Okay, so that's where this is at, and this must be what I was testing from. So we definitely don't really need the changes that I did to it. Those are either in here already or not needed. Either way, though, we don't need to keep them. But this was a good refresher. This will be cool when this gets merged in. I think it's really neat to be able to have that it'll be able to support different languages in the future. So instead of like right now, we just have US keyboards, we'll be able to add whatever layouts we want. But we don't need that. We can, see, we can just revert, which is called rollback. And now we should be able to do this. So consumer control code. We want to basically create 2 of these. And I'll have to test a little bit. I don't actually know which one is up and which one is down. Oh, these are shouty. Brightness. So I have 6F and 7. I'm gonna guess maybe increment is the one that's higher. Seems like a decent guess. We'll check it out though. Let's see, 6F. Oops. Right. This. Okay. So yeah, let's actually let's figure out which is which. And so to do that, we are gonna wanna convert this code a little bit. So the Funhouse has 3 buttons. Could just use digital in out. Or is there like a helper library like Circuit Playground? I don't know for sure. Funhouse. Let's check the main learn guide. So let's pin outs. Okay, most of this stuff. Yeah, here we go. This will work good. So we're going to start with this. This code, it looks like, listens to one of the buttons and turns on the LED whenever you press the button down. Or maybe vice versa, I'm not sure. And what we will do is change it up to send these control codes. We're going to save this because I do want to keep it. This is code mqtt.io. Right, we have bootpy. Let me pull up the camera. Okay. So my Funhouse is, of course, set up still to use this design.io example that I ran on show and tell. And the thing is that it tries to download a file. In order to be able to download a file, it uses bootpy to mount the drive as writable. And it's actually based on whether or not you press the up button. So I think for right now, we can just disable that behavior. So I think what I will do is let's reboot Funhouse with the button down. That's going to get us back to writable to the PC. Okay, so we should be writable to the PC now. And then what I'm going to do is just change bootpy to not bootpy. So now that will not run anymore each time the code boots up. And we can also go ahead and save this now. I don't know why it doesn't have a name filled in. MQTT. Okay, so now we're going to make a CodePy. I'm going to close boot because we renamed it outside of here. We're going to paste in this stuff. This is not what we're making. We could run it like this just to make sure it's working, though. That's probably a good idea. There's still a CodePy, but it's just a copy of the old one. We can save over that. Can make sure this is working. Up button. I don't actually know which LED. Oh, it's under the screen right there. And that is working fine. So we can basically just trade out turning on and off the LED with sending these control codes. We do need to import some stuff and set up the HID. We need keyboard? Looks like we don't need keyboard, actually. We don't really need LED anymore. We are gonna do 2 buttons. Right. Okay, 2 buttons. We don't really need else. Just using time.sleep to slow it down some so that it doesn't spam super fast. Oops. Might be all we need. Probably it will crash because we don't have HID on the device. We're on 7. I haven't updated my bundle downloader to get the new one yet, so let's grab oops. New bundle. Is on here. HID. Plug this. Okay, we're going to paste that into lib. This should be happier now. We're missing an import though. Actually, we're probably missing import time also. Oh, that's not good. So it's tripping every time. But as you can see, it's working because my brightness is going up and down. So that's just going to happen until we fix this. So these are backwards. That's my first guess. Let's see if that at least stops it from spamming. Yeah. Did I copy those wrong? Well, okay, right. So I didn't copy it wrong. I just took the first half of the logic when really I wanted the else. Hey Fede. Thanks for tuning in. We are working on some PR for HID library to add the brightness commands. So let's see. So this should be just working now, I think. Up. Nice. And up is making the brightness go up. So that's good. The screen I'm on is not really actually doing anything with the brightness, but I can see that my OS is popping up. The thing. Oh, that's not down though. Let's see, down is all the way here. There we go. So that's seems to be working pretty good. We can scooch this over, get some of the glare off, and then you can see when I press down, brightness goes down. When I press up, brightness is going up. And of course, you know, again, it's not changing the actual screen, not in the stream, and also not even on the real screen that I'm looking at here. But like on an Android device, or if I were using the built-in screen, because this is a laptop, then it would be working. It's just screens I'm looking at are plugged in with HDMI and DisplayPort. So I think we have the right one going each way, right? Oh, no, I had those backwards, actually. Up is when I press the up button, brightness is definitely going up, and that's 6F, so up is 6F. And down is 7.0. Still got our empty line. So that's all we really want to do. Let's run Precommit. Hopefully, maybe Black will want to do something. Precommit. So like this. I guess we could, should we add an example as well? Yeah, we might as well add an example as well. ID. This is doing swap. Oh, swap, as in Alt-Tab swap windows. It's just pulling D4 and D5. Okay. So why don't we make one called HID consumer control brightness. And we're going to make it work with the Funhouse. Up and down buttons. So we need different imports. Is this? Oh, it's just doesn't have it on my computer. I wonder if my but like digital I/O works. Wonder if my build of the stubs is older than this class existed, or I don't know why that's not finding it. So we want consumer control codes, we want to create the object, we want to set these pins. Actually, we could basically just copy the bottom half of this. Oh. Didn't get it copied. Oh, it's gonna delete it too. Let's see. There we go. Oh. Somehow got the second half of this. Probably left it highlighted. Find if I leave stuff highlighted in Mu, it gets deleted when I switch windows. I need to update. I think there's new Mu out. I have a relatively old one. Should try to get the new one. 6F. And so now the benefit would be, though, we don't have to do these things anymore. We can say instead, well, we can import them from here. So this will be, no, consumer control code. Doesn't want to find them. I think it's probably not finding them because I think I have this library installed with pip. So it's looking in the one there, not looking in this local repo. That's my guess. Yeah. Uninstall that. This might, I think this might pick it up now. Maybe? No, it doesn't look like it. I have other stuff. Doesn't seem like it. Well, anyway. It's not, shouldn't cause it not to work. We're going to test it on the device anyway, but something to do with PyCharm. PyCharm's problem. So I think the original one of these was just 0.1. We could probably just copy that instead of my half a second. Oh, this is, this should not be dented. But these should. Let's use the other one of these here. Oops. Get rid of these two sleeps. Okay. I think we're there. Let's copy this to the device. And upload the newer version of the library. Right. I just figured this, what is this? Up? Yeah. So I'm going to delete the old one. I'm going to paste the new one. Nope. CC is not defined. CC is not defined. Did I not? Maybe I didn't save this? Oh, okay. So my imports don't work. Oh, it's on this class. So it actually needs to be more like this. Import the class and then say, oops, dot. Okay, that should be better, I think. Glare coming back a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So maybe we could slow it down just a little bit further, because it is, I don't know, I guess it's nice you can, do that if that's what you're trying to do. Because you can just hold it and it will spam, which is kind of cool if you're trying to go really far up or down. Okay. So that is working. We have the new constants being used, and up, it's definitely still going up, down is definitely still going down. So we'll need to fix the way we did the import. Let's just copy it over. So we wrote this. Do we want anything else here? I don't think so. Seems okay. It's pretty much matches this keyboard shortcut one. Oh, I guess they do put another little note down there. It says what it will do. Maybe we could do that. Whoops. Wrong kind of comment. Here we go. Brightness up, button press. Brightness down, button press. And this still says they can be any buttons that you want. You can just change the pins right there. I guess you might need to change the pull as well, depending on how they're wired. So let's run Precommit. And we added an example, so we should add it here, I think. Which I'm kind of bad about sometimes, so glad that I remembered. So make a new line. Let's build the docs and make sure that it builds and that shows up. Docs. Okay. Build. Index. Whoops. Probably took over the chat, I'm guessing. Put it over here. Okay, so examples. Okay. We maybe want to add... Yeah, here's our new example. I think we want to add them to whatever makes them show up in this list, though. Not how we... display text, I think, has multiple examples. Let's check that one. Yeah. We want them all to show up like this, and then when you click each one, it takes you to that one in the page. It's still one page with all of them on there, so you can scroll up and down. We want them all listed, so... Oh, you know, usually there's one of these things for each one, I think. It's here, so... Yeah, maybe that's actually the reason why... That might be the reason why they're not showing up. I think so. Let's look at the display text code real quick. Yeah. So we need to add a little header and a like a sentence describing what it does for each of these. And then I think that's going to make them show up. Okay, so also this one says simple test, but keyboard shortcuts is above it. So let's swap that around. The right number of spaces. Sphinx is pretty specific about spaces. Yeah, we have an empty line after the previous one. We have a title, a bar, an empty line, a sentence, an empty line, and then this stuff. Okay. So this one is keyboard shortcuts. And that was sending, I think, Alt-Tab and something else. Let's mention what it sends. Alt-Tab and Control-K for search. Control-K. Searching in your browser. Simple gamepad. Gamepad. This one is sending joystick data. Release buttons, press buttons. To 8:15. Not sure what these numbers are. But it does have a joystick. So we're going to say send joystick and gamepad. Actually, let's say send gamepad buttons and joystick to the PC. HID Joywing. This is for a specific device, I think. Oh, these things need to be the same. Pretty sure these things need to be the same length as the words, or else it gets mad. Although this one is one extra. It's supposed to be one extra. Let's try to make them all match. See if it gets mad or not. Joywing, this is for a specific project. I mean a product. Joy Featherwing. Should probably have a link of it in here, honestly. Well, the learn page is useful too, I guess. Both pages are useful. It's good so that people can verify that this is like the actual device they have. Whoops, if they're trying to use this example. We could probably just reuse this. So let's see, this one does have a period. Let's go ahead and put periods on all of them here. And now the new one is the last one. Really need to say from what? Brightness up and down signals to the host. I want to say signals. Key codes. Consumer. Oh, we should call them what they are, I guess. Consumer codes. Consumer codes. So this should probably say host also. It doesn't have to be a PC, right? So, like, you know, this one that we're going to be working on, it's more for mobile. Although you could use it on PC too, I guess, right? Well, maybe not the brightness. At least not on a PC if it's hooked up like mine. Okay, so now let's build the docs. I think these things will be listed now as links, hopefully. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So let's run Precommit again. I don't think I changed anything that it would touch, but better to find out now than after we push, just in case. Okay, that passed, so we can push. That's the wrong code. Oh, we need to be up here, I guess. Nope, 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 nope. Want that. Just make sure the stuff that is changed makes sense. Yep. Examples, we added a bunch of these. We also swapped the order of those two, so that does make sense. New example here. And we added those links to the Learn Guide and the product, since this one is for a specific device. So that does all make sense. This is unsaved, but I think it would take the latest version when it pushes. Adding brightness, consumer codes. Push. So it looks like still have the origin. Can I is it going to be broken if I rename it now? I'm kind of interested to find out. Git remote rename. No, it seems fine. So now that's nice because it doesn't say origin anymore. It's, yeah, we still have Adafruit, so Adafruit was not the origin, which is good. Okay. Sample script that shows their usage successfully with mouse on tested on Android. So let's go back to the camera. So right now my Funhouse is connected to the PC, right? Because we see it in Mu and we're able to write code to it and stuff. So what we're gonna do is plug it into my phone. I can zoom out maybe. I don't know if I'll be able to fit both on the screen without zooming out some. Go there. That's all right. We don't necessarily need to see it all the way. But what I have is this cable. So we don't need this one. This cable, which is a USB host or a USB on the go. So it's like, you know, female USB port right there. Normal. I don't know if that's A or B or what. I don't know all the right names for everything, but it's like you would normally find this on a hub or on a PC. And then this one is micro, because my phone's old and has micro. So we're going to plug this into the phone. And we're going to plug this cord from the Funhouse into this. Okay, this is booting back up. And so now for here, we can go volume up all the way, volume down, and that is still working. So that's good. Phone can go away now. Let's plug this back into the PC. Let's put the OTG cable back here. Get back to the chat. Hey, Mark. Yeah, hey, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a good day, and hope you have fun with whatever you're headed off to. So that is working, so we could finish up writing this PR. Tested successfully with Funhouse on a Linux PC and Android. If anybody is watching and has a device and like a Mac device or a PC, Windows, or an iOS device and a OTG cable that works with iOS. That one's probably the most rare. But if anyone has other platforms that they could test this on, that'd be super cool. Do we need anything else here? Yeah, we could say also added some links to Joy Feather. Is it Joy Featherwing? Yeah. Oh. I just Did I just kill my tab? No. Okay. Nice. Thank you, Fede. Yeah, definitely having fun. Thanks, Dockster, for checking in. Well, you're not watching, I guess, so you probably don't hear me. But let me say, let's go wave. Links to Joy Featherwing in the relevant example. Okay. That looks good. We can double check, triple check the change here. Make sure it looks all the same as the one we just saw in PyCharm. It does. And then we'll make sure it passes CI, and if it does, we can request a review. I'll just leave this up. We'll wait for it to pass or not. And if it doesn't, then we'll fix whatever is wrong. If it does, we'll request a review. Next thing that I'm going to work on is testing something on Adafruit.io. So I think last week, maybe during the stream, I don't remember. Maybe it was later in the day, I don't know. But last week I was working on Design.io, uploading to Adafruit.io, and I was having trouble posting data at first. When I posted my data, I tried to post an entire object with multiple values, sensor 1 value, sensor 2 value, which I got from the cookbook. Right here. But it seemed like it only stored one key and no values. So I made a post on the forums. JW Cooper, which is I think one of the devs of IO, got back to me and was asking if I try to fetch the data back out, does it you try to pull the data back out in the API, do we only get sensor 2 or do we get the rest of the values as well? So I need to test that out and then write back the results. So they also gave me some other advice, right? How to upload multiple data points using these other APIs. Data won't be usable within IO. Yeah, that part's fine. That part's fine because we're storing JSON in IO, but we're not needing IO to like know anything about the JSON or do anything with the JSON. We just want it to keep it and let our device be able to get it. Yeah, that part's fine. So we're gonna test this and see if we get all the data out or not. Is there a CPython example in Adafruit.io? If not, maybe it would be good to make a CPython example. Because I wrote a little bit of code to post this, how did I end up posting it in the end? What did I end up doing? It's put it all as one string. Is that right? This is going to be views. Signature hook. Yeah. So we ended up, to get it to work, what we ended up doing was we're passing a object with a value key, and the value of the value key we turned into a string. So we call JSON dumps with the actual object that has the real data in it. So we end up with just value key and then the value being a string representation of all of this data. So it's kind of like encoded one more level into a string. And that's what ended up making it work. So let's look. This did pass. Oh, whoops. Sorry, Dylan. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Whoops. Okay. Let's go look at Adafruit, not HID, but Adafruit.io library. Let's look at the examples. No, this one's definitely for a microcontroller. Yeah, if you're around and you're interested into review that one, that'd be cool. I will probably wait and see. I probably won't merge it just yet. I do want to wait and see if Dan or Scott or anybody chimes in about the size of it. I know this library, like in that other pull request we had pulled up earlier, it might have been before you joined, but there's another pull request where they're adding stuff, and Dan was suggesting to move it into a new library. So I would think the two codes is not over that threshold, but I would definitely defer to them. I don't actually know what kind of space we're looking at. So, but if you're around and want to review it, that would be awesome. And then whenever one of those folks do get around, as long as they don't say anything about it being too big, then yeah, it'd be good to go. There is a CPython. Yeah, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. We got paused here, I think. Yeah. Let's go back to the beginning. So there is a CPython one. It is oh, maybe I should be using this. Maybe I should be doing that. So in my code, I was just using requests straight and not using the Adafruit.io library, which I guess it wouldn't make sense for there to be an example in Adafruit.io library that doesn't use the library, right? It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to just make one that uses requests only. Maybe though I should be using this in the Design.io server, because this looks like it is just calling temperature feed key. Just temperature feed. It's just calling send data. And it's not having to worry about the lower level details like Oh, but so we ended up, we're not sending, yeah, that's right. We're not sending right to the API really, like sending data into the feed. Instead, we have the webhook. So maybe it would make sense to have an example that's using the webhook. That is not, whoops, trying to find on this page. There's nothing with webhook. Is there anything dealing with webhook at all in this API for this library? Not in here. This is MQTT stuff. Does it have send? It does. Okay, so this is actually sending data. It's sending data through the MQTT channel, I think. No, self.post. That must be a post request, probably. But it is doing everything like headers with Adafruit.io key and all of that stuff, which we did not. We don't necessarily need anymore. On our server, the Design.io server. But I guess this question on the forums, it did have headers, and so it was more of a normal API request. So I don't think it makes any sense to make a new example of this, but I do still want to test out what JW Cooper was asking about and get back to them. Doesn't really matter where we put this. So I am just going to go ahead and put it in the AIO library, even though I don't really intend on making a PR to add it. This is a, feed post test. Don't want to add it. So we're going to have to fill in some imports for sure. Requests. So we'll need headers filled out, which I cannot just copy out of my code anymore, because I got rid of it, I believe. It's not really needed once we use the webhooks. Yeah. Headers. I think we could get this from the cookbook, maybe. It's like XAIO key or something like that. So we're gonna have a URL. Okay, so let's see. I think I got the header from here originally. Yeah. Okay, so this is in headers. Key. Credentials. So I know secrets.py is the way that you would normally do this. The thing is, though, on CPython that already exists, it's a built-in module, so we can't really do that on CPython. We should try to get away from it on CircuitPython too, but it might be too ingrained at this point. It's a whole nother can of worms, though. But for now, we're just going to call it this: import credentials. We need to create that. Whoops, we didn't run that. Whoa, what is all of this stuff? Weird. No idea what that stuff is. Okay, no. Controls is a dictionary. AIO key is this thing. And I have no idea what my key is, so let's find that. Guess I could copy it out of the device. Yeah. Maybe I should do it in a more controlled way. That's gonna open. I have no idea where it's gonna open. Well, okay, actually, if I do it here, then it's definitely gonna open here. Right? Should. It's not gonna move. Okay. Whoops. What? No. Copy. Copy. Close. Okay. Save. Close. Back to here. What? That was weird. It somehow got the wrong name on the file in the tab. Let me just make sure it didn't save anything. No. Okay. Okay, so where are we at here? This should be able to import now, but it might need dot. Is that right? Dot? Yeah. So we made a header, passing the header. So this might be all we need. I think let's format, let's get a URL. So we could make a test feed for that, I think. Nice. Rspone, tested working on Windows 10. Awesome. I don't know if you're watching, but thank you if you are Rspone. Let's get the chat and stuff back. Yeah, see you, Dexter. Okay. Let's go make a new feed. I always get a little lost on this page because you have to go to view all before you can create a new, seems like. New feed. Default group. Let's just call this one test post. Feed info. So did we do the API URL or did we do the web URL? That part. Did not put in my question, but I should have. And now I don't know for sure which I was doing. I could go back and watch last week's video, I guess. It's probably in there. I think I will just... I misspelled it. Library. Oh yeah, extra M. Let's see. Luckily, that's like a thing that I just typed this morning, and so it's not like been that way every time. Oh, 2, actually. I'm missing an L. Development. Yeah, I'm bad at spelling. Update. A little update on Twitch, I'm pretty sure. I don't know how the updating works on YouTube. I'm not sure if it will actually change there or not, maybe. Thank you for the heads up, Johnny. Let's try the API, I guess. Whoops. See what this gets us. Attempted relative with no known parent package. I think we can't do import dot secret credential because there's no init side of this. Doesn't really like it this way. Actually, it seems like it imported. Did I put the wrong stuff in it? Did I spell credentials wrong? No, that's just not working. Has no attribute. Oh, you cannot access. This is not JavaScript. You can't just do that. Right, string keys. We can't access it like a property. I think this might actually work, even though it doesn't realize it here. So we got 404. Maybe if we put content, it might tell us more. Invalid URL. Invalid URL. Whoops. I probably overtook the chat again. I don't know why it wants to go there by default. So maybe I should have used the web URL. Or maybe I need username also. No, this says key. Oh, you can do a query parameter or a request header. I guess you wouldn't want query parameter necessarily. That would put it in the URL. Date feed. Put? Maybe it wants it to be a put. I think, though, I definitely had a post showing here. So maybe it was this one. Let's try it this way. Okay. 422 should be an error still, I think. I don't know what it means. You ever seen this page? Got a bunch of cats for all the status codes. Unprocessable entity. Processable. Does not shed very much extra light on it. Maybe we do need to go back and find the video. Unprocessable entity. It didn't give us back any actual, like, error text. Doesn't say 422 in here anywhere. You send JSON that can't be parsed. Okay. Oh, okay, in your APIs. Maybe it could be the same here. It is odd though, because I definitely did have this succeed. Should have kept the should have kept this code. I just had it like in a view inside this server. Doesn't need user here? Does that say username? Oh, but this is in URL, which I have. My feed key correct? Maybe my feed key is wrong? No? Test post hyphen. Syntax error. I swear though, I got successful responses before. And it did upload some data. Data. This has data on the end. Got a bunch of these now. Yeah, this does not have data on the end. So I guess this is a more generic URL. Because you might not be using the data endpoint, you might be using a different endpoint, I guess. I think this is what we want now. Nope, this is still 422. Hmm. Should I use a underscore? No, I have dashes only. I mean, my data that I'm using here was just straight copied from this, which I guess J.W. Cooper did say looks like we need to update the cookbook. But I swear I was able to post this, like I say in the forum post there. Oh, in the URL. No, I do have a hyphen as well in the URL. Oh, but I'm missing all that API v2 stuff. Okay. Back to here. So I tried the web one. We want this and data. There we go. So now this feed has just the value sensor2. Okay. Well, it has location and other stuff also, but as far as the value, it's only sensor2. At least what it shows on this page. So next thing we need to do is what J.W. Cooper asked, which was if we pull the data down via the API for that feed, do we get only sensor2 or do we get the other stuff also? And I have no idea how to pull data for a feed, so we're gonna have to find that part out. HTTP API, feeds. Get feed is listed twice. So let's make a new one of these. Feed get data. I think we will still need the headers. We don't need the fake data. We're going to be making a get this time. So this says does not have /data. I don't know if it needs the key either. It doesn't seem like it needs the key, maybe. So API v2 username feeds, feed key, and they don't have data. .404. Not permitted to access the key, the feed with the key test post belonging to foamyguy. Or the feed does not exist, but it does belong to foamyguy. I guess they got that from the URL though, right? So we do need headers probably. Headers. There we go. It's a little nicer. Value. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna say let's actually say maybe sending a GET request with key, with AIO key in header. We'll paste the URL. I got back data in the data that I got back. It does only have sensor 2 in the value, in the last value field. So I got back something like open some stuff, this thing, some more stuff, close. Okay, so we want the URL. String inside the value field. Like this. So in here, what I ended up doing is basically this: JSON dumps this value. And that worked, I believe. Yeah. So then when I fetched it back out of there, I just re-parsed it as JSON. Let's copy in this. Looks like a GET for the feed itself. Check the other GET. Oh, like maybe there's one that goes straight to the data instead of having all the rest of that stuff. Whoops, wrong one. Oh no, I did put data here. I'm not sure what I had up when you said that. Sorry, Johnny. This is adding GET feed is where we're at here. So this does say, this doesn't say data. Oops, wrong. My expectation. Oh, no, I don't have data here. So maybe if we do put data, then we could get just the value. That'd be cool. To two things. Oh, this got an array. Right, because my feed has history. So like in my actual use case, I'm really only caring about the current most recent thing. But it is actually saving all of these. So data gave me back a list. Yeah, data did. It gave me back a list of all the datas, or up to 100, I guess, I think is what it does by default. And so the most recent one has everything because I encoded it properly. The first one has only sensor 2 because that's what it did the first time. And that is definitely different because this one contained a bunch of the meta information. Yeah, like when the feed was created, bunch of stuff about the feed, the group it's in. It has the last value as well, but it only has the last value, and it has a bunch of the rest of the information. So yeah, good call, Johnny. Good call. Data is actually kind of nice here. We were fetching data out of this for real, because that's how we get the specific data points and only the data points rather than all of the rest of that stuff. Yeah, for sure. Sweet. Okay. Geometry. Interesting. Type point. I wonder if you could have a type region, maybe. Okay. I think our answer here is good. Yeah. So he gave me links, JW Cooper, that is, gave me links to batch updating. I don't really want to do it that way. I think, though, if I understand correctly... No, I definitely don't understand correctly. So, multiple data records. So this would be making like two data points for the feed, which is also not necessarily what I want, because I don't want, like in the real use case was it's for the design IO, and I want to store the MD5 string, and I want to store the URL of the image. So, and I don't want like one data point to be the MD5 and then the next data point, like, you know, chronologically to be the URL. I want the current data point to have both. I don't think batch is what we want. Let's see what the other thing... See what the other thing they linked was. Create group data. Groups, group key. Group data. Feeds. So this is, I think, closer to what I was imagining the first time. This one looks like it can create a data point into two different feeds at the same time, which is closer to what I want. I could have one feed for the MD5 and I could have one feed for the URL. Then I could upload data to both of them. But I really like the simplification. I really like having one feed that ends up just holding both values in the JSON there. So I think create group data, that would be a workable solution, but I don't think it's how I want it to work necessarily. So, but it is good to know that you can do that, because in the end, I do actually have two feeds, right? I have one feed for the signature and the URL and one feed for the image. Theoretically, I could use something like this to post both at the same time. Right now, I'm sending both in two separate requests from the Design.io server. But it could actually be a little more efficient, I guess. It could send both at once. Although I will say one of them is the image, and it's base64 data, and it's already really big. I am hesitant to combine that with the other one, even though the signature data should be pretty small. But these are both good options. Good to know, definitely, because I'm still relatively inexperienced with I/O, so it's good to know all this stuff exists. Okay. So that gets us through this. I think next thing I want to work on, I want to fill out a post in this form page, which is ideas for Adafruit.io, because I would like to post the suggestion to be able to it's actually kind of a two-part suggestion. I would like to be able to access. Yeah. I would like to be able to access this image like as a PNG file though. Like right now it's like inside of a canvas or something. Yeah, it's inside of a canvas. I don't know exactly how it's getting loaded into there, but you can see like when I do open image in new tab, it's not like you might expect for seeing an image on the web. Like you might expect this to be, you know, Adafruit.io / whatever / foamyguy / feed / something dot, you know, PNG or JPEG or BMP. Instead it's this somehow. And it, I believe from what Brent was telling me, I asked about this on Discord, and Brent got back to me and let me know that there is not currently a way to access that image file directly as an image file. The only way to access it currently is through the feed, and it comes to you as base64 data. So if you want to get it back into an image, you need to be able to take that base64, convert it back to an image. But the thing is, that is not so easy to do on CircuitPython. Somebody else did actually let me know that there is a base64 library in the community bundle, so it might be possible using that base64 library. But I do still think it would be really nice if they could just offer this to you as an image file as well. And I know it's like theoretically possible because my Design.io server does something very similar, like consuming a base64 image, turning it into an image file, and then being able to serve that image file. So like at a high level, I know it's possible conceptually. So I think that'd be really cool. That's kind of the first part of the two parts of my suggestion. The second part is, I think it would be awesome if there was built-in BMP conversion as well, because we are posting a PNG image or a JPEG image. What we're doing right now is whenever we go to upload the image, we are opening it with PIL, we are making it indexed, because we know that we want to use an indexed palette instead of a, you know, true color or whatever they call it when it's non-indexed. I'm formatting it as PNG, encoding it to base64, and then I'm checking the size. And the reason we're doing that is, of course, Adafruit.io has a limit of 100K for uploading an image. So I check the size. If the size is over 100K, then I load it up into PIL again. And this time I format it as a JPEG and I drop the quality down to 90%. So that will basically compress the image some. And then, of course, we go back into base64 so that we can send it up to Adafruit.io. We print the size again, but we don't actually check it and do anything else with it logically. But then at that point, we go ahead and upload it. So if our PNG was over 100K, then we convert to JPEG with 90% quality. And in my experience, it seems like that pretty much always got me under that 100K. So at that point, we go ahead and upload it. And the reason why we are sending a PNG and a JPEG, or I should say, the reason why we're sending a PNG or a JPEG is that there seems to be a small bug currently with the BMP images. So if I go grab a BMP image, which I have one in the server here, of course, go inside of here, doesn't really matter which one we get. Let's just make sure it's not like blank or something. Yeah, that should be fine. So this is a BMP image file. And the thing is, let's get this up here. And maybe this over here. And we try to drop it onto this image block in the dashboard. Let's see, it doesn't want to update. Let's see, I thought you could do that. There we go. I don't know why I wasn't doing, but so it uploaded, and the thing is, like, that BMP is still there. You could still access the base64 of it. You could convert that base64 back into an image, and your image will come back out correctly, I'm pretty sure. But the preview doesn't currently work with BMPs, it seems. So I did report that. I think Brent said that might be, something that is meant to work. So I think at some point that'll probably get fixed, and you'll be able to see BMPs as on the preview in your dashboard. But until then, I thought it was best to go with PNG or JPEG. That way you could actually see the preview here. This thing does get kind of crazy when you refresh or when you resize the browser window. So that's why we're posting PNGs and JPEGs. And so what I think it'd be really cool, the second part of my two-part suggestion is, I think it'd be awesome if we could post PNGs and JPEGs, and then Adafruit.io would supply an API. You hit that API, and it converts your image to a BMP and returns it to you as a file. That way, CircuitPython devices can just go ahead and download it directly and show it on the screen. Wrong BMP format. Yeah, I don't know what the BMP format is, what it would need to be, though. What I do know is this is the format that works on CircuitPython. So ideally, it should also be, I think, supported by Adafruit.io, that format, index PNG, not PNG, obviously, BMP, index BMP. So yeah, it could be the wrong format. I don't know much about the formats, though. I don't know how to change it to a different format. I was unable to find any BMPs that worked, though, for this preview. So I think it might just not work for BMPs right now. But it would be super cool if you could upload again, like upload a PNG or a JPEG, and then it gives you an endpoint where you can download the BMP version of that. That way you can like copy in from Photoshop or whatever your normal tools are. Most people are used to exporting as PNGs and JPEGs nowadays. You could upload it that way, but then on your CircuitPython device, you could access it as BMP, which of course is ready to go for display I/O. So the question is, can I like put all of that into a concise like post requesting those features, and do I want to do that instead of like coding something else for right now? I think I'm gonna pass on that for right now. I'll write that out a little later. Yeah, I think it will need, obviously, like my explanation of it just then kind of droned on and on and on. So I want to probably get my thoughts into a little more concise, kind of like single paragraph or a couple sentences or something that can really convey the idea without all the fluff. And that's not the kind of thing I'm super good at, so I don't think I want to just do that while you are all watching. This is more of a programming feed than a writing and refining feed. So let's close off some of these. I think what I'll do now is, oh, merged, nice. Okay, so there must not be a size issue. Thank you again, Mark and rspawn. Both of you are here, or if you're not here anymore, then thank you anyway, but appreciate both of you folks taking a look into that. So yeah, I don't want to write this up right now. I think the next thing I'm going to work on is actually in Design.io. So something that I was doing this morning inside Design.io was I was trying to make it possible to make guest designs. So the way that it works right now on the deployed server is that you actually do have to create an account if you want to create a design, which I do realize might be kind of a bummer for some folks. I know personally I'm relatively hesitant to sign up for accounts on things sometimes, so I definitely get that. Let me get to the page here. So like if you are not logged in and you go to try to create a design, so the other thing is I don't have a log out button, which I need to, but you can do this to log out. If you go to try to make a design, it's like, hey, you need to log in. And the reason that I did that initially was, let me log back in and I can kind of talk about the reason why. So Yeah, I don't know why this is in what's saved when it's wrong, but if I pull up a design here, so there's kind of a few things that go into this. If you have webhooks hooked up, right? So right here I have my Adafruit.io webhooks. So if you have these webhooks hooked up, then whenever you save this design, it automatically uploads to Adafruit.io. So like if I save here and it says successfully saved, and we go back and look at this dashboard, it's already updated here. It's got the new image, it's got the new URL, and MD5 there. And if you had your Funhouse running the code that goes along with this, then it will automatically update the screen here as well. So essentially, if you have those hooks set up, then whoever can access this page can upload data to your, Adafruit.io and to your Funhouse if your Funhouse is running that code as well, right? They can upload whatever image they want, which is not great, right? Like you want, like if it's your Adafruit.io account and it's your Funhouse, you don't want another person to be able to come and find the page and change your design and save it into your Adafruit.io account. Like, for one thing, it'd be confusing. You'd be like, why did this change? But, more specifically, like they could put something you don't want on there, right? They could put, curse words or any kind of things that are unsavory, right? Like they could just put things you don't want, right? That's the high level of it. So what I did is I made it to where the designs are tied to the user account. So if you come to this page and you're not the user that created the design, then you won't be able to edit it. So like if I grab a new window here, which will not be logged in, and I go to this page, it's going to say error. So it'd be nice if it had a better error that said like, hey, that design is not found. Kind of surprised actually that it does not have a better error. But in any case, it doesn't let me edit it because I'm not logged in this browser. And even if I was logged in, but if I was logged in as a different person, like a moment ago I was logged in as foamyguy, we log in now as Tim C, and we try to go back to that same page. So now I am logged in, but I'm not logged into the user that design belongs to. And so you can see here, it tells me like, hey, that design was not found. Basically meaning like your user cannot see that design, therefore it's not found. So that was the way that I secured the designs, was by attaching them to the user accounts. What I would like to do, though, is make it to where folks who are not logged in can create a design and they can access the design at that URL. And they can add webhooks and they can save, and all of that stuff will still work on a guest design. The things that won't work, though, are like this page here, my designs. So like you won't be able to see a list of all the designs you've created, because without a user, we have no way to know all the designs that are yours versus, designs that might be somebody else's. So you won't have this page. You won't have a profile, obviously. You won't be able to put default webhooks, which means that if you want to create multiple designs, you'll have to save those webhooks into each and every one of them. Whereas if you have a user, you have a profile, you can put those default ones in, and then as soon as I create a new design, I can add whatever I want to it, something. And because those default hooks are filled into my user, they get automatically filled into my new designs. So that's kind of nice if you want it to go to the same webhooks. So, obviously if you don't have a user, you won't be able to do that. But I think what I'm going to do is allow you to create the designs and basically just give you a warning that says like, hey, anybody who comes to this URL is technically allowed to change your design. So I will let them know the risks and encourage them to make a user account if they want it to be more secure, and if they want to have it be easier to make multiple designs, right? Because you get this nice gallery page that holds all your designs for you if you have a user. So I actually have some of that stuff working on my local copy here. So I think this is still running probably. Yeah, this stuff is still running. Let me close out of the real server. We'll keep the dashboard open. Can close that. We can close this. I'm not going to work on that today, I don't think. So let me go to localhost. And so now I'm not logged in. We can tell I'm not logged in because it has a login button here. So if I was logged in, it would say like profile and my designs and new design. But on my local copy here, I can click this, and instead of just taking me to the login page, it does actually let me go to the create design page, and I can create a design, right? I can put Blink on here, can change it to whatever background we want, can give it a name. So like no user design, and we can save it, and it works now. So it's saved. It's going to create that design. It's going to redirect the URL. So now we're editing that design we just created. It does allow me to set up webhooks, but of course, like I mentioned, they don't get filled in automatically. So we would have to paste those in for each design if we wanted to use them. And this now all works without being logged in. So like if I come back to this tab, and if I log back out, well, we want to be on localhost though. So we're not logged in. And if I take, so I'm not logged into anyone, but I can take that exact same URL that I just created over in that other tab, and now I can pull it up here. So this is the crux of it, is that anybody who gets the URL can edit that design if it's not associated with a user. So it's kind of as secure as that sort of, unique hex code there in the URL. As long as you don't share that, as long as nobody else figures that out, then they shouldn't be able to access it. But it's only through obscurity that it's locked down. So, and this is all working. Also, this button here is gone. So you might have noticed, like when we were on the logged in account, which I do not have pulled up anymore. Maybe what I'll do is go back to the real server too. So when I'm on the logged in account, we have this My Designs right here, which is how you can get back to this page. But when we are on the non-logged in account, we don't have that. So that makes perfect sense because, of course, we don't want to show everyone's design, everyone who didn't have a user. And we have no way of knowing whose is whose, so we can't really show you your own designs if you don't have a user. So that's gone. So really the last thing that I need to work on right now is I would like a pop-up that shows whenever you are creating a design, if you're not a logged in user, I would like a warning that basically explains, hopefully more concisely than I just did, but explains the stuff that I just explained out loud. Like, let them know, like, you can do this without a user, but technically it's like public. Anybody who gets the URL can edit it. And then I'll also let them know if they want to lock it down, they should make a user account. And also probably tell them the rest of the benefits of that, like having multiple designs, having a default webhooks. Those are the main ones. So to make a pop-up on that page, it's going to be in the front end. It's going to be in the design page and app. And I think actually maybe I should make it as its own component. So I think what I'll do, I already have this webhooks dialog, which is this pop-up right here. So I think I'll just copy that and start modifying it to be my warning. Because we can just take the form stuff out of it, change up the icon a little bit, and add our own information into there, the warning text, and then I think we'll be good to go. So this is going to be no user warning dialog. So do we want to add it? Yes. So let's see, we probably don't need some of this stuff. Let's, no, actually we do want all of that. Yeah, we do want all of that. This stuff comes from the dialog. And this dialog is extending something inside of Blueprint.js. So this is the main place where this dialog came from, is this Blueprint.js library. So those of you, if you've been following along with the work on this Design.io thing, you know the front end here, it's built in React.js, which is a little bit new to me. So if you are familiar with React.js already, then you might wonder why I did some of the stuff the way I did, or why it takes me so long to figure out what's going on in here. And it's just because I don't have very much experience. This was basically the first like real-ish thing that I created with React.js, and I did this mainly as a practice run for something that I needed to do at work. But it ended up being kind of a cool project, so I polished it up a little bit and I'm letting other folks use it now. So let's see, we definitely don't want the cloud upload icon. We could find a different icon. That's a nice, easy place to start. Let's print.js. Don't know if it's .org or what. Docs. Dark mode. Icons. I think we want, is there like a warning or a danger or a warning sign? Yeah, let's do warning sign. Warning sign. Title is guest user warning. So basically we don't need input groups. These are basically the form components, like those input text boxes. We don't want those. We will still have a paragraph with some information in it. Let's get the tunes back going here. Hit the end of my 50-minute YouTube thing. Let me get the chat back too. To hide the URL better, suggest updating the parameters in the TLS web server, at least to add HSTS. Let's see, I'm not familiar with much of this stuff. Let me check this out. SSL. I do have SSL turned on, pretty sure. Having the URL stuck. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, if you were on a public computer and you did that, it would just be in the history there. So the next person who came along could see it. To hide the URL better. I should have that. I don't know if I can test it on my computer, because I accidentally didn't have it set up right at first, and my computer saved the permanent redirect. I don't know if I found a way to fix that, but I think so. I have HTTP right here. Yeah, and it did automatically redirect me to HTTPS. So yeah, here we go. It shows finally if we click into it. So I do think it should be automatically redirecting. If you go to HTTP, essentially none of the API or anything really works on HTTP. The only thing that does work on HTTP is the redirect back to HTTPS. At least I'm pretty sure that's how it's intended to work. So let me try to figure this part out a little more though. Updating the parameters in the TLS of the web server to add HSTS. HSTS. So does this have something? Okay. We can look into this. So this is saying add the header strict transport security. So that's what STS must mean. And then H is for header, of course. Strict transport security, max age, a bunch of seconds, always. Yeah, we can check if we're using this. Terminal. I'm gonna go over here for a second. SSH. This. This. So next is that at that. And first time we did that for the day. Okay, so now this is SSH'd into the server. So we're gonna go look at Nginx config. Might as well, well, why don't we cat it first? Cat. So do I have anything like this already? So does this go inside a server? Yeah, it does go inside a server. Hey, thanks for the tip on this, by the way, Alvaro. I do server hosting for work, but only because I'm the only developer. It's definitely not a thing I consider myself particularly good or very experienced at. So I definitely appreciate being pointed in the direction of better way to do things. So let's see. This is all location stuff. It wouldn't go inside of location. This is just inside server. So it looks like, yeah, I don't have this. And I don't have anything else that's really doing any add headers. So it doesn't probably matter too much where we put this. Their example config here is a little bit almost backwards of mine, I guess. I have my certificate stuff down at the very bottom. I don't think it matters the order of all of this stuff, though. I wonder if I should be having all of these things. What was this first thing you linked? Let me put these in the same... Put these in the same tab. What is this, by the way? This thing is cool. SSLlabs.com test. I should remember to do this for some other projects. Yeah, this is cool. It tells you the good and the bad and the intermediate. So maybe this, wonder if this is a thing we should do too? Or does this have, maybe this has something to do with, my certificate, it is like, yeah, it comes from Let's Encrypt. It's not like self-signed, but it's also not like I didn't pay a certificate, entity to create it and let me use it. It's from Let's Encrypt. Public key pinning. A lot of this stuff is a little bit over my head. But we will definitely do this HSTS. Does it list that thing on here? It does, yeah. So we should be, I don't know if this thing updates live, but if we make this change in Nginx, we might be able to just come back and refresh and see it change here. Bgrade is mostly because you have TLS 1 and 1.1, which are considered deprecated. Gotcha. On the Mozilla page, if you select intermediate, then it will only do 1.2 and 1.3. If you do modern, it will only do 1.3. Do you know by chance what the main, is this true? Yeah, the main thing that I need to make sure to support is the CircuitPython device. If the CircuitPython device can use 1.2 at least, then I could definitely update that. We could test it out, actually. We might as well do that. Wait, they give you a lot of information here. This is a really cool site. Okay, let's do the first one first. So HT, where was this? Right here. So we have add header, strict transport. So we do want to go sudo. Not going to get tricked by that one again. Nano. I'm a nano editor. Hopefully there's not Vim fanatics that will hate me for that. Let's see. There we go. So this is what does my redirecting right here from HTTP. We listen on HTTP and then redirect to HTTPS and then the same place that the request came in from. So like whatever URL you requested, you get redirected to the HTTPS version. So this is our HTTPS server. I think I'm going to put this stuff down here because it's related to SSL. This is where all of this stuff is at. Oh, I copied a different thing. Yeah, gotta watch out for that on the terminal here. If you highlight something, then it gets copied kinda to a separate like paste bin type thing. So let's see. And the SSL is kind of designed to check and recheck. Nice. Okay, sweet. There's a way. There's something similar to SSL Lab, but with the Nmap. Extra info is kind of nice. Nice. So that should be this one. So exit, save, yes. And we probably got to restart Nginx. This should, whoops. Sudo service Nginx restart. So let's make sure it's still up first. Yeah. And we could try check in, refresh this, and then just TS still says no here, preloading. There's a strict transport. Still say no. I wonder. I don't know if that's in here or if that's I mean, it would be a header thing, right? Because it definitely said add header. Refresh. Oh, it shows up here. Might take it a minute or something. Can find out. Let's look at. This is a cool page too. I didn't know this was here. This thing that generates the configuration file for you. So we could. Protocols. Do you have to do ciphers if you do protocols? I mean, I guess we might as well do both, right? Let's make sure this doesn't have a weird line break in it. I don't think it will. Yeah, that does not help. Okay. That does look fine. So we can test if this works on CircuitPython. Oh wait, that does not look fine. Those should be indented to the same. Those be indented to the same level? Got way too many windows open now. Do protocols as well? Okay. Yeah, these should be on the same. It's because of the way I highlight it like this. This has a tab in front of it, this doesn't. That's why it came through like that. I'm gonna go like this. Let me check something real quick. No, okay. This is the stuff we want. And let's go back to SSH. Back to edit our config. So these are also related to SSL things. These ones seem like it would make sense to put them after these ones we have already. Let's do this. Save. So I'm not going to restart yet. Before I restart, I'm going to look. At this. Whoops, took a screenshot. Network. Headers. Well, those aren't, are those headers? Those aren't really headers, though. It would be more in here. Mostly I'm looking to see if it tells me anywhere. No TLS. No 1.1. Not sure where that stuff goes. Hopefully, let's see if we go back to that labs page. Got way too many windows going here. Let me close the camera for now. Let me close page info. Guess this wasn't a Chrome tab? Yeah. TLS tolerance. There's going to be a lot of TLS stuff here. Server supports. Okay. So this, if we could get this thing to refresh, then this is one place we could tell if it worked. Which we would definitely need to restart this first. Service. I wonder if we need to do reload. There's a reload also. So it still says these here. Scan another, so let's scan another page. Yeah, okay, this is from a few minutes ago. So if we go clear, we'll do it again. Yeah. Here we go. So we got to clear the cache. So this might actually show the change to that HSTS thing as well. Ciphers like 1.1 can choose which protocols to use. Things like 1.3 have protocols considered as secure. Not in modern is not needed. Gotcha. Well, this is finishing. Actually, I'm going to run to the restroom. I'll be right back. Let me pause this. Yeah, I'll be right back. All right, we are back. Looks like this is done, and we did improve. We are now an A+. So we do need to make sure that the Funhouse can still access it, and as long as that still works, then we're good to go. So that is awesome. And we do show HSTS now as well. Let me just go in. Yeah, some of the stuff I do for work, I'm going to make some of these improvements on, but I know some of it's probably not going to be able to because we have to support like old versions of Android, basically. Old, weird, kind of cheap Android devices that don't have the best OS sometimes, so I won't be surprised at all if they don't let us, if they won't let us update. I'm going to totally check some of this stuff out, though. So let's make sure that this still works on the Funhouse. So what I'm going to do actually is open this in Firefox because all of these tabs are getting me here. And this too, because this page is cool. I need to remember this one. I should bookmark this one. Let's close this. And we want to be on the live server. We want this back to running the code for it, so we need to save this one as code consumer control test. Or brightness, I guess is what I called it in the repo, but it's fine. We do, let's see, let's do this the right way here before we lock ourselves out. We want to open code, save it as code. It will fail because it's not able to write. Then we want to open boot, save it as boot. Okay. So as long as the image download works, then we know we're still good. Because the image download is really the only thing that comes from the Design.io server. Everything else pretty much uses Adafruit.io now. We send the message out to Adafruit.io. We send them both the image and the signature, so the MD5 and the URL. And then on the Funhouse, it connects to the feed and just listens for new data on the feed. That's the MQTT feed. And then once it gets a new message, then is when it finally hits the Design.io server. And the only thing it does is download the BMP. So it says we're listening on the feed, so we should be able to go pull the camera back up as well, I guess. Let's do that one. Oops. All right, let's get this here. Maybe push that down a little bit. Oops. Okay, so doesn't really matter which design we go to as long as it's different than this one, because we just want to make sure that it saves. Should already have the webhook set up, save it. OS error, read-only file system. That looks like read-only file system. Must not have rebooted. Must not have rebooted and ran bootpy. Make sure. Has bootpy. Has this stuff in it. I think it prints in here if it ran correctly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this print goes into boot out. And it was not there, so did not run. So let's try, let's just try rebooting it first with the reset button. Oh, this booted itself for some reason. Stopped by auto reload. Oh, because it must have saved a file. The OS must have saved a file. Okay, I'm gonna push the reset button. We'll have to reconnect serial. There we go. Okay, we're listening. We can check boot out real quick. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay, there we go. Does have our stuff in it now. So we don't really need this anymore. So it should be writable this time. It's listening on the feed, so we're ready to save. Okay, downloading. Two thumbs up. We're good to go. All right, that's awesome. Thank you again. I think Fede and Johnny for the pointers there. Appreciate that. Okay, so that stuff is set up now. So I do think it is kind of a bummer about the URL in the public, like if you're in a library or something. Theoretically, like I could probably do it. Let's go back to localhost. So here you're just on create design, which is not specific to a design. I could do it where if you're not logged in and you save, it redirects you to a URL without that ID in it. Then the problem would be, though, is you would have, like, there's no way to get back to it at all. The only way to ever get to the view design page would be immediately after you create the design, it redirects you to the view design. But if you refresh, or if you leave and come back, or if you ever try to get back to that page, you have no way to do it. Which I don't think I like. I think I want you to be able to, like, create it, bookmark it or something to save the URL and then get back to it. I mean, personally, I definitely, like, recommend folks just make the user account. I want to make it possible to do without for folks that don't want to, but especially if you are going to be using it like on a public computer, you know, I would strongly recommend to make the user account. So it's part of why I want to put the warning, I think, just to let them know, like, hey, we're going to let you create this, but here's kind of the, you know, the things to keep in mind if you do it this way. So I think most of the actual, like, nuts and bolts are working. Really, the dialogue is the main thing I still need to do. We have a dialogue now. We should rename it. No user warning dialogue. Same down here. And is open. So I think the way we make this actually show is inside a render in here. So we would just make a new dialog, and this one is the no user warning dialog. The state would be this, which we need to go and create. We don't have any click actions that we care about. The only things the user can click are just going to be to close the dialog. Maybe also a link to, like, the create a user page, so it's like they could go there if they do want to do it. But we don't need to handle that click with JavaScript code. That can just be a link, so we don't need that callback. Handle close. I guess we will need this. Pause again. No, okay, just have a quiet song. Quiet intro. So we don't have any other data that needs to go in. We're not passing URLs. So this might be all we need. Is open, and then the handler for closing it is, I guess, going to set the state back to false, probably. We'll have to look at what that does in a minute. We need to import this, though. So we could basically duplicate this one. That should work now. And let's go here. So we're going to need another one of these. Let's see, what did we say the state was called? We should just copy and use the same thing. No user warning dialog open. So when it gets closed, we set that state back to false, and because we're setting the state back to false, the state gets passed into the property here, is open, which determines whether or not the dialog is closing or not. So now this is hooked up. We have one call to set the state back to false, but we need to initialize the state. And let's see. Basically, we want it to be when the page loads, if it's the guest user, if the user's not logged in, then we want to show them the dialog. So I think what we do is go false by default. And then we need to check if they're logged in, which is getting passed to us as data inside this thing. So maybe we could go if. So we need this part because, like, the first time it gets called, it's undefined, I think. Again, I am very green with React.js, but I think I had a like undefined null pointer type problem when I did this. Yeah. Yeah, supporting old weird cheap different computers that are never going to update is a fun challenge, let's say. So we want to say also if it has the property username, and last thing we need to check is if the property username is not blank. Whoa. So if it has input data, if the data on the input data has username, if the username on the data on the input data is not an empty string, then we do this stuff, which is set the state back. Well, not back, but set the state of this to true. If there is a user, then username will be filled in with the username, so it won't be blank. Therefore, this will not get set to true. This is the only place where this gets set to true. Starts out as false. So the only way for it to be true, hopefully, is this if statement. And so if it is true, it will set the state, it will show the dialog, and then whenever the user closes the dialog, either by clicking the X or pressing the escape key or clicking outside of it or clicking the close button, a bunch of ways to close it. Whenever they do that, this callback will get called, which will set the state of this variable back to false, which will in turn cause this to no longer show because we were passing that state to isOpen. Yeah, that all seems good to me. So let's build it. see if it works. And I'll probably be wrapping up here the next 10 or 15 minutes or so. But I'll see if I can get this going before we go. Let's see, no such folder. So probably we failed to build. Let's see if we can find the real error here. Importing. This has already been declared. It's already been declared. Interesting. Did I add it twice? Oh, I think I want that one. Interesting. I don't know how that got there twice. Maybe I just pasted it twice. Still haven't figured out a way to like either make this build quicker or use the like npm has a npm run, and when you run it that way it doesn't seem to have to do this build, so you can check your changes much quicker. But the problem is like I have to build this page and then it has to get served inside of Django in the template, because the Django template is actually what's passing in like this input data thing. So if I just ran it off of the npm server, this would be null. We wouldn't be able to actually do any of the stuff related to it. There might be, I'm hopeful that there is some happy medium that's like, let's refresh this. Okay, so we do have a problem. It did not show us the dialog, so we're gonna have to troubleshoot. I'm hopeful there's some medium where I could like speed up the building maybe. Okay, so let's just start troubleshooting here. I'm actually kind of the same as Scott. I'm a print debugger a lot more than anything else. So just gonna throw some print statements and see what is getting executed here. Console log, user. Oh, you know what? Already right off the bat, this logic is, yeah, this logic is backwards. We want if the user is blank to show the dialog. So this is backwards. We want equals. So user was blank, and we could even up here do like, can we? We can't really, because it will be undefined one of the times. I mean, we could copy the first half of this. I'll go back and take this out, but let's do, if we have input data, if we have a username, then just print the username. And let's do it like this too, so we can see if it's like empty easily. Okay, so we will print the username. We'll also print user was blank. It will probably just work this time, truthfully, because probably the flopped around logic there was probably my issue. I guess I could go log in and then it would tell me, but we're already building. Hey Keith, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Not much of npm. Do like and install almost immediately for C tools like Ccache, especially with RISC-V, IC distribute violation. Heard that yarn is faster than building than npm. Yeah, I could look into that. I have heard other folks talk about yarn as well. I don't know much about it. I wonder if it's I mean, I guess no. Like, I have to have a compile step because this JSX code is not JavaScript, so something has to compile. Truthfully, I'm like, most of the JavaScript I write is still like super old school, just writing JavaScript in a JS file, and I don't even really tend to use imports that much, truthfully. So it's not, my JavaScript is, I guess, not super modern, but getting pulled into the modern age some with this. But I don't have much experience with the build tools. I should look into some other ones. So this should be done. Let's check here. Refresh. I still got no pop-up. Let's look in the console while we do this. Let's clear it, refresh. We have a ton of stuff printing. Yeah, we have a ton of stuff printing. Probably turn off some of the prints. I don't think we got any. I don't think we got either of our print statements. Let me see where I did this. This is in component did mount. And this stuff is working. Does it not have username? I'm pretty sure I already added the code to pass in username. Let's just try like this. Let's get rid of all this. And if it's not there, then it'll crash. If data is undefined, then this will crash because I'll try to access it on undefined, but format. Okay. Not crash. Okay. We do have username undefined right here. So data was defined, but not username. Am I already sending this? Oh. No, I think I'm only sending that right now to view design. I think I'm not sending it to create design. So we could actually still test this by new no user design by saving this, and it's going to redirect us. And now it works. So I did not change the text inside of here yet. So like this should, you know, warning about guest user. So I'll go back. This is another thing I don't think I quite have my thoughts together enough to be able to write out exactly what I wanted to say. So I'll spare you guys that, but I will change this so that it's actually, we can see that it is that dialogue that's showing. I guess while we're here, we should probably also get rid of the save button because there's nothing to save. Yeah. We're just going to let them close. Yeah, we'll have a link, I think, up in the paragraph maybe that's like, or do we want a button? I don't know. We're going to have to build again either way, because I did change that after I started building. That's what I find. I really like working with Python and CircuitPython because there's no build step, so it's like save and go. Whenever I work in languages that have a compile or a build step, like I find myself like hit compile to let it go and then look back at the code and find something else I want to change and then change it. And then I just like wasted that compile step because I changed the code again, but it's not so bad. All right, here we go. Refresh. Yeah, this is working now. That's our message. So we do want this to work on the create page as well though. So let me go here. Back to the front end view. So I'll make this work on the create page and then I'll probably wrap up after that. So create design view right now, we don't really have much going on in this view. Yeah, this must have been back from when I was just beginning to send data in, because this is obviously fake data that we don't need. We do want username now. Username. We're just going to fill it in the same way down that we got it down here, which was here. Right, so we will, I'll actually end up erasing some of this, but this, we don't need to look up a design object because we're creating, so it doesn't exist yet. If user's logged in, set the username. If user's not logged in, set it to blank. Pass it in here. Let me make sure this is right. Yeah, context data dumps. Yeah. Seems okay. Do that so often with compile languages, yeah. So do it with git add. Yeah. With git. Yeah, I do that too, waiting on, like, after I'm committing and like I hit push and it's running the push and then I'm like, let me just look and find more stuff to change. Make another new commit. Okay, let's format. Okay, we're good. So now we're passing username to create design as well. So we should be able to go back to here. And now we get the pop-up. And then let's just make sure that if we're logged in, we don't get the pop-up. And as long as that's working, then I think I'm going to call it a day for now. So let's go. I don't know. Some of these. Some of the accounts exist on the local one, but not the real one, and now I don't know which is which, but looks like this one does. So I should probably add new design to this page. Right now it only goes to my designs. Once you get there, you can go to new design, but probably would be good to be able to go direct. Yeah, so I did not get a pop-up. So it did successfully, not show me the pop-up based on the fact that I'm logged in. And just to like kind of triple verify here, if we go to a, this is a private tab window, so it's a brand new one. It's not logged in again. We go to create. We got the warning. Awesome. Okay. Don't know much about programming dynamic websites. Found almost the same workflow with websites that use flat files. Made the Dia Circuit Playground, Dia, I think it's supposed to be Dia Circuit Playground site. Had more fun than I expected. Yeah, I kind of like web development. A lot of folks like start with web development. Like a lot of folks in the world today, if they're just becoming a software developer, lots of them, the first real stuff they're working on is web dev. But I actually came in opposite. Like the first real programming I did was Java and Android, and I did that for years before I ever really touched web at all. And I've kind of wrapped back around and learned a lot of the web stuff. So kind of have a little bit of an upside down experience from what a lot of people get. Whoa. With IPFS hosting, because it's nice to try bleeding edge. Yeah. I I can go up to a point. Up to a point for me, trying out new stuff is cool. I had a buddy that I worked with that was all about like always trying the newest stuff for everything. Um and I tend to want to like there's times where I don't want to learn a new thing and instead I just want to build a thing with something I know. Whereas like I think this buddy of mine, he was a lot more like he could have fun learning the new thing. Whereas I tend to have more fun building something with it. So like the learning part feels more like work. And then once I know how to use it to build something, then I can kind of have fun with it. So I do fall into that trap a little bit. Like I lean on the stuff that I know because I can get up and running and build stuff quicker. And that's like more fun for me than learning all the new stuff. But I need to, I've been doing more and more lately. Like this whole React thing is brand new to me. So it's nice to have come this far. I actually kind of understand now how a lot of this stuff works inside of inside the app here. Like originally all of this was like, you know, might as well have been Greek or some other language that I don't read, but I actually kind of understand a little bit what's going on now. It's, you know, there's still things that take me by surprise. Like it's not entirely clear to me when render gets called and like whether this will be filled in or not, or like why it would ever get called when it's not filled in. So like stuff like that, like life cycle things, some of them are still a little confusing to me, but for the most part, like I've actually kind of figured out like how to, you know, create new components and integrate them in with this main app thing. So I'm starting to feel a little more comfortable on React.js, and I will agree, now that I'm feeling a little more comfortable, it is kind of like I'm happy that I made it through the work of learning the basics, because it is fun to pick up a new thing and be able to do new stuff with it and just figure out how it works and stuff. So it kind of has inspired me. Playing with React.js here kind of has inspired me to want to learn some of the other new JavaScript stuff. Like I haven't really looked into TypeScript. I haven't really looked into the other two big frameworks. Like React.js is one of the kind of three major frameworks that's used these days a lot. Angular and Vue being the other two. So I'm going to end up looking into those as well. But for now, I think this is where we're going to leave it. This is working when I'm not logged in. It shows me this warning. Eventually, I'm going to fill this in with more specific information. When I am logged in, it does not show me the warning. So that's pretty much exactly what I wanted it to do. So the last thing is just to fill in the actual warning text. But balance between working on making things with code and working on new ways to learn code. Yeah, new libraries, new frameworks. Not good at the balance yet. Yeah, I feel you there, Keith. I feel like I struggle with that balance as well. I kind of like it's almost a mood thing, right? Like sometimes I'm in the mood where I'm just not going to have fun if I am trying to learn only and not create something, but sometimes I'm in a mood where I can actually like enjoy the process of the learning. And so it's good when I do get that, when I get into that mood and can get going and learning, like I can get a lot absorbed during that, so it's nice. Jumped onto Angular, was done with my website in 2 weeks before they announced the new incompatible. Yeah, that I am scared of that, definitely. I'll give you a Sparky on that. I am dreading basically being thrust into maintaining a React app without like I say just a moment ago, I kind of understand how some of this stuff works now, but there's a bunch of other machinery here that I don't really understand at all. Like, I mean, this had to install a bunch of things, and I don't know what all of them are. And there is, like, I noticed whenever I install new things, it runs this, let's go design page. It runs this audit thing, npm audit, and it finds, like, I just noticed the other day, oh, well, that's a good sign, actually. Somebody took care, there was a high severity thing here the other day, and I like did not understand what it was. It was something with this React scripts. This is the part of it that does scare me, because like I don't even know what most of these things do, honestly. I would not even know where to begin sitting down to try to solve some of these. So I was real freaked out the other day because one of these actually was a high severity. And I started looking into it. I spent like probably an hour or so looking into try to figure out what to do about it. And like, I basically just came up empty, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to manage this stuff. It does look like somebody took care of that one though, so that is very good. I'm happy to see that for sure. But yeah, it's kind of scary. All the dependencies. You go to like sit down and write one kind of small React thing, and it's like, okay, we're gonna install 1,900 packages so that you can write your hello world. And it's like that's a lot of stuff. That seems excessive, but I guess it's all needed. Anyway, though, enough on musing on JavaScript libraries for today. So I'm gonna head out for now. I appreciate all you folks that tuned in. Keith, Johnny, see, Doctor was here for a while. Dexter was here for a while. I think Fede2 had a lot of folks today. So I appreciate all you folks watching. Mark Gambler was here for a bit. Johnny, did I say Johnny? I might have said Johnny. I don't know. But anyway, thank you to all of you folks for tuning in. I will definitely see you if you're interested to watch the next next show, if you will, or next stream will be Saturday morning for sure. I'll be back same time, 10 a.m. Central. I do sometimes pop on Twitch as well, so maybe if you're interested, you can follow me on Twitch, and occasionally I pop on there and work on some other stuff. So, oh yeah, it's a long weekend this week. So actually, honestly, I'll probably be around. I'll probably be around on Monday because I do have the day off. I might end up working on CircuitPython stuff, so maybe I'll stream for a bit on Monday. But yeah, until then, I will see you folks later. Yeah, thanks again to everybody, and we'll catch you next time.